Are going live.
We're live.
It's Saturday Night Live.
Featuring
I'm Brandon Perna here with Will Keys. And not only is it not Saturday Night Live, we're a day late with the podcast. But it's all right because we're here now. We're here. Talk about Broncos, Lions. The reason we're a day late is Will was at the game and he got way too drunk. He was just inconsolable after the game. Really, just it was
ran
ugly.
on the field. Briefly ran on the field.
Ran on the field. Got
It was
arrested.
not pretty. But you know what was pretty? Our performance.
Yeah. And by our performance, Will and I willing the Broncos to a victory against the Lions. We're very important pieces of that Broncos 38-10 dominant win. So we're going to talk about what Will's experience was like at the game.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually genuinely curious. Will and I have not talked since he went to the game. We hung out the day before. Today's episode, of course, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. You just got to use code DNVR when you sign up with DraftKings and my coffee company, benchwarmerbrew.com. Selling really sweet beans. And I think yesterday was the last day to get them in time for Christmas, but you should buy some for yourself for the day after Christmas and for New Year's.
Yeah. You know what? I think that'd be good. If you're hungover the day after Christmas or New Year's, you'll have Benchwarmer right on your doorstep. Problem solved.
Yes. Okay, so I just uploaded. I just upped the Broncos recap video to That's Good Sports. So I got into the recap there. Obviously, the big story wasn't really the Broncos versus the Lions. It was Demaryius Thomas.
Yeah.
And I kind of said this on the show with Grossi this morning. I reiterated it in the video, but I thought the Broncos just did like a really good job of making sure they had their shit together to honor DT. And I said, that's like something you shouldn't take for granted as a franchise, because there's plenty of franchises that will get that wrong. The Washington football team is who I thought of. Tom thought of them first, but I was just like, I was proud of the way that they went about doing it. The memorial they put up, the symbolic play, the decals, the team getting the picks and putting them on DT's decal. Like, it was all really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the atmosphere like being there, Will?
Yeah, so I went early, obviously, and walked around for a little bit, and just a ton of, like, you underestimate how many people had 88 jerseys lying around and ready.
Yeah.
A ton of those. And
I had to, because I made a joke in the episode about the 88 number, and I had to look up who wore it before DT, because I wanted to reference like the wrong player, and it was Tony Scheffler before him and Jeb Putsier. I was like, man,
white guys.
You had to go back to like Clarence K, I think was like the first guy that I remembered as being like, I don't know, notable at wearing that number. So like,
not Desmond Clark.
Yeah, no, it's like, so was it like DT is 88? Like he
is the definitive 88.
And so you're saying everybody was rocking 88?
So yeah, a ton of 88 jerseys. You get to the front of the stadium, and they have the kind of like the shrine that they put up,
right,
with the 88, and a ton of people crowded around that and taking pictures and videos and just kind of congregating around there. And you just like kind of feel this sort of energy and you know kind of the importance of a game like that and what it means to everybody. But then you get into the stadium and you sit down and you kind of wait, and it's this whole thing because everybody was there early. Like usually the stands are filling out right around kickoff, but so many
Yeah.
people were already in their seats 15, 20 minutes before the game kicks off because you got this tribute coming. And the tribute, the early tribute before the game was not like, I don't want to say underwhelming because it was powerful. It was just kind of short. But the real
Like a
thing
video
that,
thing? Was it a
yeah,
video thing?
it was a video on the Jumbotron, kind of like just a highlight, and then some words from Dave Logan, who's the radio play-by-play
Right.
guy. And then the real, so that happens, and it was sad, obviously. And everybody starts chanting DT, 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 and that, that kind of got me.
Yeah.
But I was not ready for the first play of the game. And to kind of, you're waiting for them to snap the ball. You're kind of anticipating it. And then to see what was going on, that really hit me right there. And because during the play, while the play clock was winding down, they flashed his number 88 on the Jumbotron.
Right.
So you're like, oh, this was orchestrated. And then you could see Sutton come in from the sideline and a couple wide receivers go off. And I didn't realize what was going on at first. And then when you figure out it's a tribute,
Yeah.
that was, to me, that was a lot, that stuck with me more than the tribute video or the moment of silence or anything. That really got me. And then, just to see, because I don't know, everything, NFL teams use everything to their advantage.
Right.
They can get it. And for, the 1-10 Lions to be in on it and say, we're going to decline the delay of game.
Right.
And we're going to let you guys have this one. It's obviously the right thing to do, but it's just, I don't know. It was powerful. And
Yeah, it's cool.
It was a really cool moment. And they had another little tribute around the 2-minute warning. And to know at that point that the game was obviously won,
Right.
It felt good. It felt really good.
Bet.
And then, Simmons diving interception too on the 12-yard line, which is right where they placed the 88. That, I don't know, there's nothing cooler than that play right there.
Yeah, it was such a good play too.
An incredible play.
Weird,
probably
fluky,
the best of his career.
It was just, he read it. He jumped the route, makes a great play. The whole defense goes over to 88. It was awesome to see. The opening thing with Courtland Sutton, I sort of missed because I was starting the live stream and you kind of can't hear what's going on. And then I watched the replay on Game Pass, and it was, I'm always looking for the lighter side of, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And the announcers were explaining what was going to happen. And I put it in the recap today. But and Courtland Sutton's going to go over to the number 88, and then he's going to run on the field. He's going to go to the 88. So Sutton will be over on the number 88, and then Sutton never goes over to the number 88. So I was like, did somebody forget to tell Sutton to go to 88, or did somebody give the announcers the wrong info there? But other than that, when I was rewatching, what's that?
They probably clued the announcers in beforehand on what was supposed to happen.
Well, somebody thought that was going to happen. It was just funny because they kept saying he was going to go over to 88, and he just never does. And the camera's sitting on him. But I had to figure out what kind of happened after the game because I didn't really catch it during the live stream either. But once the game started, the other cool thing is it felt like basically the most complete game the Broncos played all season. So thank you, Daniel Morales, for the super chat. So happy we got the win for DT and his family. Let's go to the playoffs. And so I titled this episode What the Win Meant for the Broncos. Well, For Broncos fans, for former Broncos
Hold on.
players, for the current players, for it.
A little busy.
Oh, we got a guest. We got a guest.
Good Lord.
Only
one more week of living with my parents.
Then you're back out on your own. It meant, I think, everything to see the team play so well, after that happened. But also the NFL so screwed up. The Broncos are right back in the playoff race. There's a bunch of 7-6 teams in the AFC. The Colts, the Bills, they're in the playoffs right now.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the Bengals, who the Broncos play this week, and who else? The Bengals and the Browns So it was a good tribute, but it's also a really important game for the Broncos if we want to keep talking about them as a possible playoff team. And what I want to get your thoughts on, Will, and we've talked about it before, but like the blueprint's there, and they did it perfectly. They get over 30 carries. They got almost 40 carries to Javonte and Melvin Gordon. And they stopped running the ball on 2 series. It was a 3-and-out and then a 5-and-out. And that's when Detroit got back in the game. And I just don't think you can abandon the run at any time if you're the Broncos. They're best at running the football. Their offensive line is best at blocking for the run. And Williams and Gordon as a duo are very good, and I like both of them in the game, and I thought the run game was a little more effective with Melvin Gordon back as opposed to, last week when the Chiefs game. But, like, are you confident if let's say they keep running well? Because what we have not seen from the Broncos is a good loss. They've either won really effectively against bad teams, or they've gotten basically blown out in all of their losses this season.
Interesting.
In any of the games where the score doesn't look like it, they just scored garbage time. Like, all the losses have been really bad, and all the wins have been fairly dominant. But I think now they have the recipe, which is run the fucking ball, where the next time they play a good team, which is going to be this weekend against the Bengals, if it's close, I think they can pull it out. And if they don't win, I want to feel good about the game. Because even if they don't win, they can still drop a game and get in the playoffs. They could still maybe drop 2 games and get in the playoffs. That's how crazy
I would not drop that game against the Bengals when you have the Chargers and the Chiefs left on the schedule. Although who knows what that Chiefs game is going to look like at the end of the year. They could have the number 1 seed wrapped up, although I kind of doubt it. No, it is a little frustrating because, you see, especially in person, like you just get to see all those talented guys at wide receiver. And they actually, they dropped a couple easy passes early in the game, which is frustrating.
Tim Patrick dropped a pass for the first time in his life, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, seriously.
And it was a drive killer too. It was going to be a first down, and it was one of the drives that stalled.
Yeah, I think the first play after the delay game was bizarrely a weird tone setter, which was we're going to throw the ball to Deontay Spencer. Cortland Sutton's had like 3 catches in the last 4 games, and they started off by throwing to Deontay Spencer, who couldn't pull the ball in. But you kind of just for the rest of the season, like, you kind of have to accept, like, we're not going to become, the 2013 Broncos.
No,
it's over at this point. Like, we know our strength.
Yeah.
And it's going to be these 2 running backs, and we're going to give them at least 30 combined carries a game. If you can get them to 39, then you're winning for sure. And there's definitely a recipe to win that way. And you kind of just like have to tell the wide receivers to, check your ego at the door for the rest of the season. We'll get you a quarterback who's going to throw down the field in 2022. But for now, those kinds of balls are going to be few and far between. And then Teddy, go ahead.
I was going to say, but like the Broncos offense is kind of weird where the only way they can get passes down the field is if it comes after they've had like 6 effective rushes. And like
Yeah.
Noah Fant had that 32-yard pass, or that 32-yard gain, which was maybe the only deep ball in the game, essentially.
Yeah.
But there's so many like you don't know who's gonna get it, but one or two guys are gonna get a big opportunity, but it's only gonna come after the Broncos run first. It's so
And
clear.
on the last drive of the 88-yard drive at the end of the game, Bridgewater hit Sutton, or no, not Sutton, Jerry Jeudy in the middle of the field and hit him in stride, which is very rare because it feels like most of Bridgewater's passes are like submarine balls leading them into the dirt. But hit Jeudy, and you got to see like how good Jeudy is after the catch,
Yeah.
especially in open field. And you're like, God, like such a great play, but they should be doing this 3 or 4 times a game at least.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think like they were throwing the ball more at the end of the game with a lead, which is bizarre because
Yeah,
most
it
teams are
was.
trying to run I was like, maybe they're just trying to give the running backs a rest at this
Yeah,
point.
it's like we can't get these guys hurt. Mike Boone's not in the game. There's
Yeah.
a point where not Javonte, Melvin Gordon went out. It's like a hand injury,
Yeah, he
and I
hurt
didn't
his
know who.
thumb.
Yeah, I guess he had. At that point, it was going to be like Javonte Williams and Demaryius Crockett, and you kind of get an idea of like when these two guys are both healthy, what they can both do is pretty incredible because you have Javonte to wear out the defense, and then Melvin's going to be the you know, hit a cutback and pick up 15 kind of guy.
Yeah, he's got incredible vision for a running back, and I don't think
Yeah,
he gets enough credit. I think
no.
we talked about that a little bit last week.
Well,
Fred
it
Zilla, I
was sad.
appreciate the super
Yeah.
chat.
Thank you, Fredzilla. You're the king.
Thank you, Fredzilla.
It was sad though that Melvin Gordon, his press conference, I think it was Friday,
Yeah,
said he'd love to be back, but didn't feel particularly wanted, which um, I think that's true. Like I don't blame him for feeling like that because I think a lot of people act like that and they don't quite see the value that he's brought over the last couple of years. Leads the team in touchdowns over the last 2 years by a lot. Has 9 touchdowns this year.
yeah,
On pace for 1,000 scrimmage yards. Like both these guys are going to be over 1,000 scrimmage yards, which is incredible. Like it's the whole thing. Like I think people who loved Philip Lindsay kind of hold a grudge against Melvin Gordon for some reason because he got kind of the lion's share of the carries last year, and then people who wanted Javonte Williams to be the lead running back and really the only running back from the moment he got drafted are pissed off too. But like the best case scenario is not Javonte Williams 39 carries. It's Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams both getting over 15
yeah,
carries.
yeah. That's exactly what I said in the recap video. Like, as long as the total's over 30,
Yeah.
that's what you need to strive for because literally they have not lost when the Broncos have had over 30 rushes this season. The Chiefs game, there was 27 rushes, a handful from Mike Boone. And I think Mike Boone's a decent running back. And I think if he had more, if they had the total over 30, they could have won that game. And it's easy to use that metric for that game because it was that 3rd and 2 that they didn't run the ball. They threw it. But you're spot on. It doesn't matter which back is getting more carries in the game. I think it's finding the balance, or maybe who's having more success in certain situations, and maybe that's Gordon one week, maybe it's Williams one week. They're both really good, and you're better when they're both fresh throughout the game, and they do different things well, and it makes it taxing on a defense. And I
Yeah.
think they're learning that slowly, but also I had Tim Jenkins on during the live stream, and he was talking about like Teddy checking down to the run a lot or killing the play at the line of scrimmage. So I'm sure a big reason the Broncos are running as much as they are might be Because of Teddy Bridgewater. Not necessarily because Pat Shurmur's dialing up more runs, but because Teddy's like, no, I don't like this look to pass. Let's run here. And if he wants to check down to the run instead of checking down to the checkdowns and throwing, I think that's the formula for success for him and his offense.
That's one of the big assets that he brings. I think you can complain about Teddy, but like he's perfect for when the run game is going well. He's kind of the perfect quarterback to have because he's just not gonna screw it up too, and he's gonna complete 70% of his passes, and the clock's gonna keep running. No, it's like, okay, obviously if there's two high safeties, and like they're playing deep cover 2, or there's not a bunch of guys in the box. As a quarterback, just check into a run. But a lot of quarterbacks don't want to do that. Quarterbacks have egos too, and they want to feed the wide receivers. But no, that's perfect. Like if you have the right look, just run every time, and who cares? You can throw 25 passes and run the ball 40 times, and at the end of the day, you won by 28 points. So that's the formula.
Yeah. 1 by 28. The original Dizzy D. Can we Joe Flacco our way to a Super Bowl? Run. Well, I mean, I don't know, because
Teddy would have to get really, really hot.
Yeah, because Joe Flacco was amazing during the Ravens playoff run there. That kind of gets forgotten. But here's the problem. Like, I think I can convince myself into believing the Broncos can win a playoff game with this style of football.
Yeah.
The issue is when that doesn't, like when the run game doesn't work, and it's going to happen. There's the teams who do it really well, like the Eagles. You saw what happens when that starts to break down for them. The 49ers got to the Super Bowl on a crazy power run scheme. Right now, the 49ers are kind of figuring out the passing game quite effectively, actually, with Kittle getting healthy and Deebo Samuel's going to come back and they could be dangerous. But like, it's going to fail, whether that's the defense shutting it down or you're just not having a day. And you're like, I don't trust Teddy to carry the team if they need the points. I think the defense is good, but against a very good offense, like I can see a couple quick touchdowns happening. So, and that's what happens in the playoffs. You're getting usually the best of the best. And I don't know how sustainable it is through the course of several playoff games, but I'm confident they could sneak in and they could upset somebody. Like the right matchup there for the Broncos, they could.
I do too.
They could upset somebody.
I totally agree with you.
Honestly, I'd want to play the Patriots in the playoffs.
Interesting.
I think they could run the ball against them, just because I think the Broncos do it by being more physical up front. And I don't think I'm scared of Mac Jones going against our defense. And I think that would be a huge upset, and I'm predicting it officially.
I like it. I think I could see the matchup happening. I think the matchup could happen. The Chiefs look like they're about to cruise to the 1 seed, and I don't know, maybe the Patriots still have to play the Bills again. So
I don't want to play the Patriots. I mean, I don't want to play the Chiefs. I don't want to play the Chargers in the playoffs.
You don't want to play the Chargers in the playoffs?
No, I feel like by that time,
why not?
Brandon Staley will just have a better game plan for it, and they'll execute.
I would take the Chargers. I would take the Chargers. That's the thing, is you would take most teams. Like I wouldn't take the Chiefs.
I wouldn't take the Chiefs.
I would prefer to play the Titans or the Chargers.
Yeah, I'd take the Titans. Colts would be tough, but maybe beatable. We'll find out. I mean, the Bengals are going to be a good test for the Broncos. They almost beat San Francisco. They're similar. They're similar in that their team is really good when Joe Mixon's running the ball effectively, and when he's not, they're very pedestrian. which is weird because Joe Burrow is a much better passer than Teddy Bridgewater. So there's like this big play opportunity in their passing game. And I think Jamar Chase, one of his touchdowns didn't count, but if it did, he would have had like 3 incredibly impressive touchdown grabs in that game. So we're going to get a good look.
That one in the back of the end zone was crazy.
Yeah, it looked like he run out of bounds and then reestablish himself and then get in?
You can't reestablish yourself on offense.
Then he was close to
he tight-roped it.
right there.
Yeah, that was I've never seen a play like that before. But Patrick Surtain v. Jamar Chase is going to be something to watch right there. That's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Once Quinn Miners becomes a premier pass blocker, I totally agree. He's going to be like I feel like he's going to be the poor man's Quentin Nelson, basically.
I just want to, like if you're ever at like a crowded bar or something, or really anything, like an airport, for example, I just want to hop on Quinn Miners' back and
have him carry you around.
Get through a huge crowd. Yeah.
Yes.
He'd be perfect for that.
I want to hop on the back of DraftKings Sportsbook, and I want it to carry me all the way to a fat bank account. Football fans, I'm sure you all love an action-packed, high-scoring NFL game. Oh, I do. And I'm confident in saying that as a Broncos fan now. But the latest no-brainer from DraftKings, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, you can bet on any team to score a single point. And new customers who bet just $1 on any team to score can win $100 in free bets. It's pretty simple. DraftKings Sportsbook customers also can get skin in the game with new same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets for a bigger payout from the same game. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. DraftKings is safe, it's secure, it's reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code DNVR when you sign up. Bet $1 on any team to score and win $100 in free bets. Again, don't bet on the Texans or the Jaguars for that bet. That is my advice. Because if they score, you score with promo code DNVR this week. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner in the NFL. Got to be 21 or older. Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Okay. Defense. We didn't talk too much about the defense, but
yes.
Damn, they were good. And I must preface all of this. The Lions, not just a bad team, a very injured and sick team.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
They were talking about having to postpone the game at one point.
Yeah, they could only have like 48 or 49 guys out there instead of 53. Like that's how down they were.
They pulled 7 guys off the practice squad. I mean, Craig Reynolds. A guy named Craig Reynolds wearing number 46 had 83 rushing yards against the Broncos. Ripped off a 35-yarder. They were down bad.
Lions fans were high on Craig Reynolds, though. They're like, he was a stud in the preseason. Okay. So they were kind of excited to see him, get some carries.
Well, he actually played pretty well.
He did.
Him and Khalif Raymond were about the only guys that showed up for Detroit. Yeah.
Khalif's been kind of solid for Detroit, like all season. Yeah. It's like 3 catches every game for Khalif Raymond. I kind of wish we had Khalif Raymond as our punt returner. And
who would you
if
take?
You want to start the game off with a pass to Khalif Raymond, I feel better about that than D. Spence.
Deontay Spencer. Godpeed. Khalif Raymond / Isaiah McKenzie. Who would you rather have the mulligan on?
Ooh. Man. I'm going to say Isaiah McKenzie.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I was thinking about it for that long was I think it was just 2 weeks ago he had a muff punt issue with Buffalo. And that was, that was the reason he got, let go by the Broncos. He kept dropping punts. Sometimes you got to give a guy a chance, especially when you draft him.
Yeah, you got to let someone fuck up as a rookie.
Yeah. Let him figure it out. Khalif, though, is just like the guy that the Broncos recognized the talent.
Mm-hmm.
And
Out of
then
Holy Cross, which is not a big school.
No. And he's like a guy that probably not going to give you a ton of big plays as, say, your punt returner. I don't even know if he does that for the Lions, but I know he was doing a little bit when he was here. He's just not going to make mistakes. And now the Lions use him every week as like their number 2 receiver half the time.
Yeah, and he was actually a pretty clutch receiver for the Titans.
Yeah, he had a couple good seasons there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a dude. He's a dude. Oh, well, I mean, offensively, you kind of miss that KJ Hamler role right now. I think KJ Hamler would be making things a lot more interesting. But it is also apparent that they need a new returner. Sorry, Deontay.
Yeah, they need a new special teams coach.
Yeah, maybe a special teams coach first. And then if Deontay Spencer can't figure it out, maybe.
I mean, but do you even need a punt returner? Grossi brought up the fact that the punt return in the Bears-Packers game, that was the first punt return of the season for a touchdown.
What?
Yeah.
That sounds impossible.
I think there have been kick returns. Grossi said it was the first punt return of the season for a TD.
All right, we'll get the research department on that.
If I'm wrong, I blame Tom Grossi.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody can...
That can't be right. But that was a great punt return, too.
Yeah, it was like 97 or 98 yards.
Yeah.
Let me look. NFL 2021 punt.
We're talking about Jakeem Grant, by the way.
Yeah, Jakeem Grant. Very fast. Let's see here. Punt returns. Where's touchdown? Oh my God. And dude, the NFL stat page sometimes is so infuriating.
Very bad.
Is this punt return for touchdown? Yeah. Jakeem Grant is the only one with a touchdown on a punt return.
There's probably been like 7 called back due to holding, though.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm shocked that they didn't get like a block in the back or holding on that punt return.
Oh, yeah. We would take Trendon Holiday back in a second.
Trendon was the man.
Dude, so explosive. Also had the fumblies, but
they have a little bit of the fumblies. I think we're forgetting someone, and his name is Jim Leonard.
Jim Leonard,
the greatest punt returner in franchise history.
I always felt good. Eddie Royal. I always felt good when Emmanuel Sanders was back there, and it was usually because somebody else had already fumbled in the game.
Yeah,
so Sanders get back and do it. I'm trying to think here. I was just watching a game in an older game, and a player had a punt return. I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot what that feels like," but I can't remember who it was. Solid, kind of underrated.
Oh, Glenn Martinez?
No. 2008? No.
Darian Gordon?
No. I can't remember.
Recent game?
No, it was like somebody had a short stretch and they're decent.
Okay. Omar
Delta O'Neal was good though too.
Yeah. Well, you can see what happens to the Broncos when the special teams merely does nothing and does not turn the ball over or give up a big return.
Yeah. And you saw the Packers almost lose a game because of their special teams.
Yeah, exactly.
You had to score a crazy amount of points just so they didn't lose the game to the Bears. It was
it's funny how a really good quarterback puts makeup on some of the warts.
Yeah. Oh boy, can't wait till Russell Wilson's doing that for the Broncos.
We were talking about this at the game. How many first rounders would you give up?
My dick.
Okay. We'll throw that
I
in the
would,
package.
I'd
We'll throw
give
the package in the package.
how many for like I would try to just give up 2 if I could.
Yeah.
You think it's gonna take 3, but it depends on how bad Russ really wants out. And what Russ has to be thinking is like, I'm gonna go to another team who's gonna give up draft picks to get me. But the current problem is my fucking team doesn't have any draft picks.
Yeah, exactly. I think Seattle has to be ecstatic to get 2 draft picks and kind of neutralize the Jamal Adams damage.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you could just give up 3 first rounders and keep like your seconds and thirds, I'd be okay with it.
Okay.
Because that's where you get so
Well,
many good players in the second and third rounds of drafts. The Broncos have a young core, so they're not as needy in terms of, the draft, but like every year it changes. Like guys get hurt, guys you thought were good aren't good anymore. You always need the draft picks. It's hard. Oh, Rod
yeah,
Smith,
and
punt returner.
Rod Smith was pretty good.
There you go, Rusty.
Very reliable indeed. He did have that one play in the Super Bowl where he didn't signal fair catch all the way,
Oh,
according to the officials.
I don't remember that.
That was the first Super
Wow.
Bowl. I think I would give up 2 firsts, second, and a third. Because you
I
have
could do
2
that.
seconds and 2 thirds this year.
Yeah, I could do that.
I don't want to. Everybody's like throw in Fant or Judy. Like, no, that's why we're getting Russell Wilson to like get some use out of those guys. Why would you? I don't understand that. It'd be like the Saints trading Michael Thomas and picks for Russell Wilson. Like, you want him to have someone to throw to, right? Like, obviously, if you're
Yeah.
getting an elite quarterback, that's why you got a full complement of receiving talent for him to throw to.
You keep those. I mean, you've got to assume.
Yeah, it's like you're
Jerry
getting the
Judy.
quarterback to go all in and try to win a Super Bowl now.
Yeah.
Why would you give up any good players? You're mortgaging the future, not the present. Don't mortgage both of them.
People tossed Bradley Chubb's name around. I'd give him up if that's what it takes.
Yeah, I probably would too.
And it's not even a knock on Chubb. It's just that they've played so many games without him.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just focus on drafting, an edge guy. Maybe you try to acquire one via free agency
really
or
good.
Von Miller comes back.
Yeah.
I've been watching the Rams Cardinals game tonight, and it was nice to see Von Miller getting some love for doing like one of the unheralded sort of plays where he basically just contained Kyler Murray. And they pointed out how it was like a savvy play by Von Miller, not letting Kyler Murray get outside to do what he wanted. I was like, that's what people don't appreciate about Von's game. You're looking for sacks, you're looking for the QB pressures, but it kind of depends on how he's being utilized. But
yeah, and I felt like if they had Vaughn in that Eagles game, I think had he been playing and been able to set the edge a little bit, not to quote Mark Wahlberg, it wouldn't have gone down like that.
Wouldn't have gone down like that.
Things would have been
different.
Yeah,
I'd give up Chubb if it required, a player. But you want to keep
I would
who you got.
Patrick Surtain is a no-no. Chubb, I'd do it.
Yeah, I'd definitely not give up Surtain.
No.
Fucking the way Micah Parsons is playing too. It's so funny how it's just like the Broncos and Cowboys draft picks. There's so many of them that are like tied together, in my opinions.
Yeah,
and that one is just like you're gonna win with either guy. What's that?
Yeah, the Paxton Lynch and Dak Prescott kind of comes to mind.
Yeah, and then also Demaryius Thomas and Dez Bryant.
Yeah, that's true.
They're not tied together, but there's just like the comparison because both teams were interested in like said players or whatever. So it's just funny. Like both of those defensive players look like studs. The Broncos hopefully get Josie Jewell back and Alexander Johnson next season. But,
Yeah, but
that's
you
the
got to
thing.
re-sign those guys too.
Yeah.
And their run defense hasn't been bad with Kenny Young and Baron Browning. So I don't think
No,
you
but
end up bringing both of them back.
the big play by Craig Reynolds is Kenny Young missed the tackle there. Ooh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And I like Kenny Young, but but then so you've got all these, these guys on defense that play well, but it's like, I think a big part of the reason defense has been able to figure it out through injuries and different things is because of Vic
Vic
Fangio.
Fangio. Yeah.
So if you're gonna, I think the play is to keep Fangio, and like, if you get a really good quarterback,
Yes.
I'm fine keeping Fangio and just getting a new offensive coordinator, special teams coach.
I think I'm with you.
But it's got you have to know it's a really good OC, and like, I don't know who that guy
Yeah,
is.
I mean, you can't. It's hard to trust Vic to make that call.
Yeah, I don't think Vic can make that call, and I think
you
George
lose the-
Payton
Yeah.
has to hold people accountable when they're not performing, whether that's coach it. Like, I feel like next year he has to be more of the guy. It's like, oh, the special teams keeps messing up. That's not Vic's call anymore. That's my call. We're finding a new guy for that.
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
he's just observing and learning right now.
Isn't it feasible at this point? Joe Brady said he wants to stay in the NFL. You could have a Fangio, Brady, Donatel trio of coordinators, plus whoever at special teams, literally anybody
Fangio,
else.
Donatel, Brady. I need an
like it.
Italian sounding guy. We had it with Scangarello. Donatel,
Scangarello.
Scangarello, Fangio. It was the
Perfect.
Ninja Turtles. I missed that.
Greg Roman. That's pretty Italian.
Yeah, Greg Roman would be great.
Who else? Shanahanio. Shanahanioli.
Shanahan, yeah.
Close enough.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, we're getting kind of in the woods here.
Yeah. Also,
Everything comes down to the Broncos winning this weekend. And I think they have a chance to run the ball down the Bengals' throats.
I do too.
You'll limit Joe Burrow's deep playability. Bengals offensive line, not the best. But the one thing the Bengals have been doing has been getting sacks. I think they have like 8 or 9 sacks in the last 2 games.
Trey Hendrickson might not play though.
Ooh, dang.
Yeah.
But if you're running the ball,
big loss.
If you run the ball, pass rushes are irrelevant.
Damn straight.
Damn straight. All right. Thank you guys for joining us in the late podcast. We appreciate it. We'll have the predictions and all the other bullshit we do up this week. Will, I'm glad you got to go to the game.
Thank you.
I think
I'm glad
I don't think there's going to be a better game for the Broncos this season.
No, I don't think so.
Most important game you could have picked going to, you circle Broncos Lions. Yeah. You really just do it because you're like, I think the Broncos can win that game. Let's try to go to that one. But
yeah, because I got into town on Wednesday, and the DT news was Thursday night. Obviously, could have never expected that, and it was just cool to Judy and Lamb.
Another Cowboys Broncos.
Yeah, cool to be there. Obviously, horrible circumstances, but glad I got to be in the stadium for that.
No, meaningful one to attend.
And glad I got to hang out with you and play some Halo and get some lunch.
Played a little Halo. Oh, yeah.
It was a great time.
All right, Will, we're going to get into this on the power rankings. Everyone's ripping me on my best and worst, calling me an old man because I put this clip of Joey Bosa celebrating.
Yeah.
And I said, whatever the hell Joey Bosa's doing here.
Oh.
And everyone's like, he's teabagging. It's the Halo teabag. And first off, shit brains, I've been playing Halo longer than most of you, okay? Second of all, if that's the Halo teabag, he did it wrong. He looks like a robot, not a teabagger. Will, I need you to look at the clip for me, and I need you to tell me if I'm getting old or if people... Yeah, what did Did you think he was teabagging?
No, not at first. I have to let me examine it one more time.
Yeah.
I'll give you a clear answer. Is
The
he
Halo
holding
teabag
the
requires
is he
the
holding the
knee.
Spartan rifle with two hands? Is
Was
the
that what he was
question.
doing? But he was just going like this. It looks like he's doing squats, and then he does some push-ups, and then he gets back up and does
Yeah, the
the
push-ups
squat.
kind of
So,
threw me off there.
yeah.
Also, you got to be teabagging over someone, and that's probably taunting, but you
Yeah.
have to accept the 15 yards there.
It's like a stupid thing that I'm getting made fun of for, but I don't like it because
No, because we were literally playing Halo on Saturday, the new
exactly.
Halo. You and I have been playing Halo since like 2001?
Oh,
came out.
Joseph, you son of a bitch! You're getting old. You did not see teabagging.
Come on, man.
All right. Anyway, Will,
Unbelievable.
please look into that for me. We got to address it in the power rankings.
Yeah, I'll look over it like the Zapruder film.
Thank you. That's all I ask. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Subscribe. Follow Will on Twitter at Guillermo Yaves. Good night.
John always ACL.
Good luck.